Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be breaking down the Tuesday night main slate. It is a 14-game slate, a monster comparative to how really the whole season has gone. We've not had a lot of these size slates so far this season. Weather-wise, not too much we need to be worried about. There's a handful of games that have like a 20 to 40% chance of rain. But I'm not expecting any postponements. The larger threats of rain are in the cities that have domes or retractable roofs. So we don't really have to be worrying too much about that at the moment. Obviously, things can change. I record these the night before, so make sure you're still paying attention to any pop-up showers that might be happening, and make sure you're paying attention to the COVID news as well. So what we're going to do with this slate here, since it is such a large slate, I'm not going to be going game by game. I'll just give you some of my favorite pitching plays, kind of break down how pitcher is going to look. And then I'll give you 3 stacks, 2 for cash that I like, 1 for GPP, and then we'll do a quick lineup construction, play around with some things and show you what you're going to be looking at salary wise if we build that way. So let's just dive right into the pitchers here. I think we got a tier 1 and then like a tier 1B. So tier 1 would be Woodruff, Wheeler, and Lynn. Woodruff has a 33% strikeout rate so far this season, and he's going up against Kansas City, a mid-tier offense who has been struggling lately. But Woodruff, you can see what he's done so far this season. He's been phenomenal. No concerns in his game at all. So he's the number 1 option. And at 10-2, that's a reasonable price. You're looking for around 25 points out of him, and I think that's totally in play. So I think he's a great floor play and the top floor play on this slate. Wheeler, right below him. Wheeler has a 26% K rate so far this season, so less than Woodruff, less than a lot of the aces that you would like to be paying 10,000 for. But his ceiling is way up there. He is a workhorse of a pitcher. He can pitch up to 120 pitches, go deep into games. And when he does that, his K rate, even though it's 26%, he can have those 7 to 10 strikeout games and put up 35 plus points, which he has done. However, the drawback of that is he does not have the same floor that a guy like Woodruff has or a guy like Lance Lynn has, who is right below him. Lance Lynn is at a 31% strikeout rate so far this season, going up against the Minnesota team, who is actually dead last in the league in the standings. Kind of caught me off guard. I knew they were struggling, but not to that extent, just because of how their offense has been going, especially early on in the season with Buxton cruising. It was kind of amazing to see. But back to Lynn here. He's gone 5 innings in 3 straight starts. I'm not looking too much into that. Obviously, he got pulled at 68 pitches here. His pitch count got up. He had a lot of walks. He went deep into counts, but he still put up 30 points with it. So Lynn and Woodruff in this tier 3 are the best floor options. Wheeler, I think his ceiling, though, could be higher than either of them, just because of how deep he can go into games and because of his matchup against Miami as well. So that's tier 1. Tier 2, Urias, Javier, and Snell. Urias, he tends to struggle at home, and it's been happening again this season. We're trying to figure out, I know this was a conversation in the YouTube comments, I think last time he pitched here. And we're trying to break down as to why he seems to struggle at home as opposed to the road. And maybe, I don't know, LA on the road bats first, and they get him a quick lead in the top of the first, and the pressure isn't on. There's no really reason or rhyme or reason to explain it, because LA is a nice pitcher's park. So, but he has struggled at home. He's not in the most favorable matchup going against Arizona, who has been hitting the ball well as of late. And you can see like his best games have been against, bottom 10 offenses: Seattle, Milwaukee, Seattle again, Colorado. So I'm not too thrilled with him. I would definitely go with Lance Lynn, who's 200 more right there. Javier, he hasn't been posting the games that we want him to. He had this nice 3-game stretch, and we all fell in love with him. But the strikeouts are there; they can be there. He's at close to a 30% strikeout rate. But I don't know. It's the same thing. 9.2. I don't want to be paying 9.2 for him. He's fine, but give me Lance Lynn for 600 more, or go down to Blake Snell at 8.9. Blake Snell has the highest strikeout percentage of these 3 pitchers here. He's at 31%. But there's 2 glaring concerns with Snell. First one is his walk rate. He has a 9% walk rate so far this. No, I'm right. 15% walk rate this season. That is very concerning. That is extremely, extremely high. The second issue with him, he's not going deep into games. He had this glorious start on opening day. 4.2 innings pitched, 4 hits, no earned runs, 8 strikeouts, and they pulled him. And we're all looking around like, what happened? What happened? And then San Diego came out and said, we're not going to be having him pitch deep into games early on in the season. We're going to build him up throughout the season. And we are 7, 8 starts in, and he hasn't gone up at all. So I don't know when they're kind of finally going to let him pitch into like the 6th inning, but until they do, it is concerning. However, he did get a massive price drop here. He went from 10.2 down to 8.9. So that's my one concern with Snell. I still prefer him over Javier or Urias, but how deep he goes in the games, I don't know. After that, there's a big drop off in pitcher, in my opinion. Not salary wise, but just like the matchups and the pitchers themselves. I mean, you got Boston versus Toronto in that small ballpark. You got the Houston bats, the Chicago White Sox bats, Angels bats. I mean, they're all high-powered offenses going against these mid-tier pitchers. I don't want any piece of that. Heaney would be the next guy I would target here. Heaney has a 34% strikeout rate so far this season, and he's going up against Cleveland, who we know does struggle with the bats at times. We know what Heaney's ceiling can be. He's got a couple of 30-point games so far this season. He's got 3 of them, in fact. And I mean, looking at his game logs here, patterns. If you love patterns, he's going to be up for another 30-point game here on Tuesday. But don't look at that. So yeah, but I love the matchup here. I think he's a great play if you need some savings at pitcher. Heaney at 7.8 is fantastic. And the other guy I would be looking at is Talon for New York, going up against Texas. Talon has a 31% strikeout rate this season. We're always looking for that coveted 30% strikeout rate with pitchers in DFS. So at a 31% strikeout rate at only 7.4 in a favorable matchup, I hesitated because, Texas just knocked Cole out of the game in 5 innings tonight. But in a favorable matchup at 7.4, 30+% strikeout rate, and Texas themselves as a team has a 27% strikeout rate against right-handed pitching, top 3 in the league in most strikeouts per game. So great pitching matchup for Talon here. 7.4, I think he makes another great value play. Everybody else, I'm not really interested in at all. I'm not going to dive too deep into them just to kind of keep the video a little shorter here. But if you do want an absolute punt play, going down to Bubic here at 4,000. He's come in a couple times so far this season. Let me pull up his logs here. Yeah, 5 innings and 5.2 innings. He's got 19 and 14. And the 14 was against the White Sox. So it's not like he played against a terrible offense. I mean, but Detroit's been doing pretty well as of late, honestly, offensively, if you look at their numbers. So at 4,000, I think he's totally a viable play in GPP. I'm not going to be trusting him in cash, I don't think. But he could really open up your salary with some of the bats. So let's turn to the bats here. I'm going to give you 2 cash plays that I love and 1 GPP play that I love. Top play of the day, I think, is going to be the Yankees. This Yankees versus Texas matchup, it is currently, at the moment, the highest over-under on the slate. And you have the Yankees as the second biggest favorite. Their implied run total is going to be the largest on the slate by far, because they're going up against Mike Foltynewicz. Foltynewicz has a major strikeout issue. He's currently allowing 2.2, or sorry, a home run issue. He's allowing 2.2 home runs per 9 so far this season. If you look back to last season, Trevor Williams led the league in home runs allowed. He was at 2.4 per 9. Foltynewicz is real close to that. And now he's got to go against those Yankee power bats. So Yankees are going to be the top stack of the day. Obviously, you got Aaron Judge. He's hit 6K, but he is hitting lights out. He's the hottest hitter in the entire league right now, and he's well worth his 6K salary in this matchup, in my opinion. They do have some value in here, though. Gardner, 2.7. He's cheap. Frazier, 3.1. The value is there. But they will be pricey and they will be tough to fit in as a larger stack unless you're playing some of those cheaper pitching options that I mentioned. The other team that I love is going to be the Cubs. Now, they're going up against Corbin. Check out Corbin's game logs here. This is why I laugh. So Corbin has he's got 2 points, -18, 1, 9. He's really struggled so far this season. I have targeted him twice in these videos. You can go back and look at the videos when I really hyped up the bats against him. And they were the game where he pitched this last one where he got 32.8 points. And this one here where he hit 21 and didn't allow a single earned run in it. So we'll see how things go this time. But I'm calling the Chicago bats here. So Corbin says he's out on Draftkings. He just had paternity leave. His wife just had a baby. He was with her, but he should be back starting here on Tuesday. So the wind is blowing out in Wrigley at like 10 to 15 miles an hour, and it's going out into left field. So those righty pole bats, I think, are going to be in a fantastic matchup, not only with the righty-lefty matchup, but they have the wind to go with it. So you're looking at guys like Bryant and Contreras. Again, these guys are going to be very expensive, and they're going to be tough to fit in with those higher-priced pitchers. Bryant, Baez, Contreras. Contreras has been hitting very well as of late. Ian Happ had a monster Sunday, almost hit for the cycle. Duffy, 3-4. So they're the same way, very top heavy in the salary, but there are some cheaper value plays in there. The one GPP play that I am going to go with here, it's Detroit. We've been harping and laughing at the Detroit offense all season long, but if you look at their last 11 games, I'm not counting Monday nights yet, just because at the time I'm recording this, they haven't played yet. But Detroit, in their past 11 games, they have had 7 or more runs in 6 of those 11 games. The offense has come alive from somewhere. But I think they make a fantastic GPP spot, a nice late game underdog. I always has low ownership. But they're going up against Dunn here, and we all know what Dunn, the struggles that he has. So looking at his stats, lefties are hitting a 370 WOBA against him and a 270 ISO. So not good numbers for a pitcher. So these Detroit bats, they can be cheap. And you know what? They can build well with some of those more expensive bats. And so this is kind of where I want to get into some of the lineup construction with you guys. So if you do take Detroit as a GPP play here, You can go with some of the lefties that I talked about. So you go like Candelario, switch hitter. Mazzara, he's been batting in the 4 spot lately at just 2.7. Castro at 2.9, super cheap. He's hitting very well this season. So if we put in those guys, and then let's just jam in stud pitchers and see what we can do. If we jam in Woodruff, and let's jam in Lance Lynn as well, just because I think those two provide the highest floors on the slate. We're still looking at 4K for your remaining batters. That's going to allow you to get in guys from the Yankees. That can get you guys from the Cubs as well. And I think it's okay. I think winning a GPP isn't having every single guy in your entire lineup at 3% ownership, right? You can have a chalky stack like the Yankees because they're probably going to go off. But as long as you have that secondary stack that is lower owned, you can really separate yourself from the field. Or, going bottom of the order with the Yankees. But if you put in those 2 stud pitchers and you put in like some of the lefty bats of Detroit here, Judge, Monster, you're still looking at 3.6 remaining, which is more than doable to fit in some other Yankee bats here. So I think Detroit makes a fantastic GPP play, just because of the salary that they do allow. You can go safe and very expensive with the bats. So if we were to clear that, you can go that route. You could also go with the route of just jamming in the studs. And one way you're going to be able to do that is kind of going down. So if we put in Woodruff, and let's just go down here to Bubich. He's got a favorable matchup going against Milwaukee. Not the best bats in the league at all. And at min price, he's going to be a true starter. So he can go 5 innings or more. Maybe he can go 6 innings. So at 4K, I think that's fantastic value. So you go Woodruff and Bubich, you're at 4.4K remaining salary. So, let's go back to those Yankee bats again. You throw in Sanchez. It's probably going to be Voit in the. You don't want the lefty with Ford. I don't think he's going to be in tomorrow. LeMahieu you can put in. Well, let's go with Judge. Let's put in LeMahieu just to see where we're at. So a massive Yankee stack. You still got 3.4K remaining. You can find some cheap offense or some cheap outfielders. There are cheap outfielders out there if you look for them. So you can absolutely do that. If you take out one of these guys and you just do 3 Yankee bats, take out Sanchez, take out Bubich, and say you don't want to go too far down and you go with a guy like Talent instead. You stack those Yankee bats, you're assuming Yankees are going to do very well, and that Talon's going to be in line for the win. You're going to get the win bonus with him as well. So Woodruff, Talon, 3 Yankees, 3.1. It's getting dicey. It's getting real dicey there. You're going to need some close to min price guys at that point, but still possible. Say you throw in one of those, say you decide to just punt a catcher. I'm just going to put in Jeffers here. I don't even know. But if you throw in a cheap guy like that, 3-3 for your remaining bats, not terrible. It's a 14-game slate. There's going to be a whole, there's going to be a handful of targets. I gave you 3 of them. It doesn't mean those are the only 3. I think there are a lot of other great plays on this slate. Boston and Toronto, always bats that you want to target in that small ballpark down in Florida. Philly, who knows? They're going up against Nieder. I don't know. I don't know if they actually are. You might have to look this up. I know he was pitching in the minors just on Thursday. He pitched a minor league game, went 5 innings. So I don't know if he's been recalled yet or if he's starting. DK has him on here. But Philly can be a great option. Looking through. The Mets have been destroyed by injuries lately. but they're going up against Atlanta, and Atlanta's playing a bullpen game. They got Davidson starting here, and the Atlanta bullpen, if you look at the stats, they're a bottom 10 bullpen in the league so far this season. So maybe in the large field GPP, you want to target those Mets bats. I'm not saying they're going to do well. Like I said, the injuries that they have faced have been extensive. When we pull this up, yeah, Conforto, IL, McNeil, JD Davis, Nemo, Guillorme. Oh my gosh, it just gets worse the more you scroll down. Like they're absolutely decimated by injuries. So, but hey, there's some value in this lineup. If you want to do this lineup over here, then I'm kind of showing you guys, with Woodruff and Talion and a bunch of the Yankees top guys, maybe throw in one or two Mets bats who are going to be sitting pretty up high in the order, and they're going to be really cheap in a nice pitchers matchup. Just kind of scrolling through. Angels, they're going up against Plesac, I believe. But I always like the Angels bats. Houston going up against Manaea. Houston destroyed Manaea early on in the season. Then Manaea got him back, but I think Houston's another fine play. There's just a lot of great plays. But for me, I'm going to be paying up for those Yankees bats. I'm going to pay up for those Cubs bats. And I think Detroit makes a great GPP option. And Detroit just makes a great value option if you need some of those salary savings with you going with those bigger bats. So that kind of wraps things up here today. Good luck in your contest tonight. Drop a comment down below. Hit that thumbs up button. We really do appreciate it. It really does help us out as well, giving you guys all this free content on YouTube. All that engagement is definitely a great thing for us. So like I said, drop a comment, hit that thumbs up button. Good luck in your contest tonight, and I will see you in the next video.